Look, this video ended up pretty long, so I'm going to give you a TLDR up front. Blizzard banned a Hearthstone champion and revoked his prize money for a tiny clip in a post-victory press conference in which he expressed support for Hong Kong. In this video, I will explain why that was controversial and why everything Blizzard says about it is absolute BS. I will demonstrate how Tencent, the Chinese company, owns large shares in Activision and exactly why they did what they did and exactly why all of their virtue signaling online on your insert the thing day is all BS based on all of their activity interacting with China and other countries in which they completely forget all of their woke politics that all of some people seem to love so much. Sit back and please, if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like, a comment, share it on Twitter. People need to see exactly what Blizzard is doing overseas. I think some of you will be pretty surprised. Let's get into it. This is probably one of the most complex situations I've ever had to cover, given the nature of its location and my limited understanding of the struggle at the start of this. I've spent the morning researching things in Hong Kong, and I believe I understand what's going on with Blizzard, Tencent, and the Hearthstone player that they not only banned yesterday, but took his prize money from him. I'm also told, at least allegedly, two sportscasters, esportscasters who were interviewing the Hearthstone champion were also terminated. I have not confirmed that yet. In a nutshell, here's what happened. A player won a Hearthstone championship. Yes, people actually still play Hearthstone. Won a bunch of prize money. He was given a short interview after winning the Hearthstone card tournament. At the end of that interview, he had proclaimed his support for Hong Kong and subsequently had his prize money taken from him and was suspended for at least a year, I believe. The ruling that Blizzard used, the buried rule that Blizzard used, is maddening. There is absolutely no other conclusion that this was done to support China because, well, the giving support for Hong Kong is, of course, standing against China, which many of you may not be familiar with. And, you know, essentially the absolute 30,000-foot view was that roughly a 200-year-old treaty came up. This is how I understand it. Obviously, if you want to research more, go ahead, but this is what you need to know to understand the rest of this video. There was an old treaty that came up, which Hong Kong used to actually be a British territory until 1999. It then reverted to Chinese ownership, and thank you, SFO, for helping catch me up on this, as well as Richard Lewis. So essentially, Hong Kong has gone from westernized democratic colony of the UK to part of China. And China has gotten progressively more authoritarian. And I guess their plan was to slowly turn Hong Kong into integrated mainland China over a few decades. Of course, you've seen a recent step which led to a lot of outcry where they wanted to allow any Hong Kong citizen to be extradited to mainland China if they did something illegal in China, even if it wasn't illegal in Hong Kong. They want to be, from what I understand, is not under British control or Chinese control. They want to be independent, like a city-state. That's what I understand. I apologize if I'm missing something here, but in general, Hong Kong wants to stand on its own. China's trying to say it's mine, and they don't like that. I don't understand all the delicate intricacies here, but as an American, as a fan of liberty, I identify with the people in Hong Kong. Now, that does not dismiss everything that they do in these protests. That is wrong, but it's getting pretty scary over there. Blizzard and Activision and many large video game companies go through Tencent because they want that China bucks. It's my opinion that China is the last bastion of new customers for some of these super huge mega behemoths like Activision Blizzard. Getting Diablo Immortal on mobile was an exclusively Chinese play. Nobody in the United States wanted a Diablo mobile game. Nobody. Like, literally nobody. But they saw it as an easy cash grab to get into the Chinese market because, well, it's gigantic. It's as big as the rest of the world, maybe bigger. And just being there is extremely profitable, and Tencent is a gatekeeper for that. Now, Tencent owns stake in 4 companies, I believe close to 10% now, but one of those companies is Activision Blizzard. Tencent was one of the big investors that helped Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick repurchase the company's shares from Vivendi in 2013. Tencent owns 5% stake in Activision. I think that's higher now, which is worth about $2.5 billion after the stock's 400% rally over the past 5 years. Back in 2015, Activision partnered with Tencent to bring Call of Duty Online to China as a free-to-play game with in-game microtransactions. That partnership enhances Tencent's gaming business, which owns hit titles like League of Legends, Clash of Clans, Arena of Valor, or Honor of Kings. The growth of those titles lifted Tencent's online gaming revenue by nearly 50% annually in the last quarter. Tencent has their money in Activision Blizzard in a big way. For some reason, Blizzard makes a statement saying this is why they banned the player. During the Asia Pacific Grandmaster broadcast over the weekend, there was a competition rule violation in a post-match interview involving Blitzchung and 2 casters, which resulted in the removal of the match VOD replay. Upon further review, we have found the action that the 2019 Hearthstone Grandmasters official competition rules section 6.1 and the individual behavior does not represent Blizzard or Hearthstone esports. Shocking. The rule is engaging in any act in Blizzard's sole discretion that brings you into public disrepute offends a portion or group of the public that otherwise damages Blizzard image will result in the removal from the Grandmasters and reduction of the player's prize total to $0. In addition to other remedies which may be provided for under the handbook and Blizzard's website terms. Effective immediately, Blitzchung is removed from the Grandmasters and will receive no prizing for Grandmasters Season 2. Additionally, he is ineligible to participate in Hearthstone for 12 months from October 5th until October 5th, 2020. We will also immediately cease working with both casters. Why? What did they say? We would like to re-emphasize the tournament and player conduct within Hearthstone esports community from both players and talent. By the way, the statement that was made, okay, was benign. It basically translated to liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our time. That is a slogan associated with those in Hong Kong fighting for their liberty. Why, might you ask? Why is Blizzard so obsessed with protecting China, bowing to their knees, guzzling that creamy goo of China bucks? This is a company that openly is hypocritic on every single social issue that they have here in the West, except in China. But none of you woke progressives who are always railing on everything here, none of you seem to care about that. When you're all gobbling knob for them revealing another Overwatch character is gay, none of you are talking about how Tencent and China are up to all sorts of horrendous things. Where was the outrage when Blizzard chose to not make characters black in Diablo 3 for China? Where was all the outrage for that? Yeah, that happened. a year ago when nobody said a word about it. Diablo 3 has two very dark-skinned characters, the Witch Doctor and Tyrell. The Witch Doctor was cut from the game entirely, not even appearing in the cinematic, and Mr. Chen gave a non-committal answer about the possibility of adding the Witch Doctor later. I believe I covered this, though. But given the pre-registration of the beta has already happened, it seems unlikely. Many Diablo fans wanted games come chronologically after Diablo 3. Placing the game chronologically between 2 and 3 makes no sense when you consider Tyrell. Removing dark-skinned character, marginalizing their importance, or simply changing the color of a skin to lighter happens all the time in China. Consider the following two posters for Star Wars: The Force Awakens and pay close attention to what happens to Finn. And here's, of course, the Finn poster. If it loads. Yeah, where is he? He's way back there. It looks awfully light to me. And when we look at the USA poster, he's up here. He's big. He's black. He's beautiful. Down there, yeah, so tiny. This is who Blizzard is bending the knee for. Blizzard is bending the knee for a country that is literally harvesting organs from detainees. This is what's happening in China. Okay? Their transplant trade is worth $1 billion a year, and they're stealing them from prisoners. Nobody cares. This is the country that Blizzard is bending the knee to. Why? Because they own them. 10% roughly now, I'm told. Changing the color of dark-skinned characters, removing them from the game. How about when South Korea removed all references to Pride Day? Blizzard's okay with this, aren't they? Blizzard's totally fine with this as long as they get that money. Blizzard doesn't care about liberty. They don't care about your social issues, which is what I always say. They don't care, you idiots. Not you, the viewers. But all these people slobbing their knob every time they roll out and retcon another character or they change their avatar to a rainbow. It's all for money. They don't care. If they did, they would never have suspended this player. If they did, they never would have stood for omitting Pride Day in other countries. I thought love is love, Blizzard. How about the Chinese commentator who called LeBron James an ape, a Tencent employee? Remember all the outrage from that? I don't either. I'm a LeBron James fan from China. I can confirm the video is true. It was actually from the Game 5 ESPN Live video, noticed by another fan, my very first post on Reddit, confirming it. By the way, translation, please lose the game, Cavs. Please lose the game. If Ape James lost today, I would cheer for him for a season. Nobody says anything about that. By the way, huge shout out to Richard Lewis, who you should follow on Twitter, at RL Lewis Reports. Provided me with a lot of color around the Blizzard and China relationship. Blizzard Entertainment has suspended Chung Blitzchung, a Hong Kong-based Hearthstone pro from Hearthstone Grandmasters, for using his post-game interview on October 6th to support the protesters. Now, here's the thing. I think people would accurately point out to me that this is activism in gaming. And just because I agree with it in principle, then maybe I feel like giving it a pass. That would be true if Blizzard if Blizzard didn't literally do this stuff themselves. If Blizzard didn't literally, Indy agrees. How about Blizzard Entertainment? How about Blizzard Entertainment CEO weighs in as a critic of Trump? You worried about them. You're worried about his view on Muslims, but you don't care that China's literally taking their organs. Blizzard is a corporation that only cares about money. They don't care about virtue. They don't care about your rights. They don't care about human rights. They care about money. And anyone who buys into their BS every time they tweet something out on International Women's Day or International Pride Day or Black History Month, you're all part of the problem. They don't care. If they cared, then they wouldn't remove black players from Diablo, right? But you're all fine to retweet that crap when they tweet it out. If they cared about gay rights, they wouldn't omit it from coverage in other countries. But you're all fine to retweet it when they tweet it out here in the West. Slacktivism, retweets, likes, that's all you care about. Blizzard is a company that doesn't care about you. They only care about their money. Hong Kong-based Hearthstone Pro banned from Hearthstone Grandmasters using his post-game interview on October 6th to support Hong Kong. The casters hosting the interview, both of whom attempted to hide their faces during his statement, were also removed from their positions. I'm assuming they knew he was going to say it. I don't know. He appeared on the Taiwanese Hearthstone broadcast wearing a mask and goggles following a win against South Korean player, I'm sorry, I'm not going to pronounce her name right, saying, "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our time." The broadcast quickly cut away from the interview, and a video of the stream was later pulled offline. The English broadcast of the day's Hearthstone matches remained available, though the interview segment was not aired. While we stand by one's right to express individual thoughts and opinions, no, you don't. Players and other participants that elect to participate in our esports competitions must abide by the official competition rules. By the way, those rules say basically we can just ban you if we want. Chung told Polygon on October 7th that there will definitely be negative consequences for expressing his support of Hong Kong, noting that Chinese netizens were calling for punishment from Blizzard. He said he wanted to contribute, having a right now not only to grab more attention, but also telling some of the protesters who were watching the stream that I'm on their side. What's wrong with that? If Blizzard, the only reason Blizzard cared is because of China bucks. Make no mistake about it. And even these game journals, they don't have a take on it. Isn't that curious? Cowards. Oh, we just cover the news. Yeah, when it's about China, Polygon, you just cover it. You've got no op-ed here, do you? How about Kotaku? Do you have an op-ed? Let's see. Coverage. Nope. Well, maybe. It's been a bad week for anyone wanting to stand by one's right to express individual thoughts and opinion when it comes to China. I assume this is the NBA thing. Yep. Obviously, they care about that Chinese money. They don't care about liberty. They don't care about people. And this is a perfect example. If you ever doubted my strong position, my strong anti-virtue signaling position from corporations, I've shown you a bevy of information that supports the fact that Blizzard doesn't care. I've also publicly tweeted out and will share here my reason I have supported WoW Classic. I've shilled it to my Twitter followers. I've talked about having a guild with all of you. But how can I continue to give money to Blizzard when this is what they do? I get it, and I've said before that sometimes you've just got to enjoy your video games, and I understand. That's why I'm not going to call for a boycott of Blizzard. I'm not going to demand you cancel your pre-orders. You do what you want to do. Life is short. If you want to just enjoy the dang video game, you can enjoy the dang video game. All right? But my hope is that if you made it this far in the video, that you'll leave a like on it, you'll leave a comment on it, and you'll share it so people will understand that these corporations do not care about you. And defending them makes you a useful pawn in their game to chase more and more dollars at the expense of literally anyone and anything. Screw you, Blizzard. This is a horrible move. Reverse it now. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Above, you'll find some links to watch more videos, as well as a nice big button to subscribe, which I hope you'll do. If you did enjoy it, make sure before you go that you leave a like and a comment on the video, because you are the #1 reason this channel continues to grow, and I appreciate you.